Well, you can get a flashy guitar and play in all the best bars, but I hope you know how to smile, and it'll help if you can shake it, 'cause that's the way you gotta make it when you're young and in your prime. 'Cause it's a fight to tell the truth, and it's even harder in your youth, and no one likes a tune that they've never heard, and nobody wants a song if they can't sing along, and so you give them Brown-Eyed Girl. Well, now I sure ain't saying this is a prayer worth praying. In fact, it's something I could never recommend, but you won't never have to fear singing songs that folks wanna hear, and when you're done, they'll all shout amen. But it won't have no meaning, and them rhymes will come so easy with no message in your songs. Well, I've heard so many say it, you gotta fake it till you make it, but you won't be making nothing at all. So I'm gonna write a song and call it Free Bird, for all these assholes hollering free bird and acting like I give a damn. I know I'm a crazy hack, I probably won't be invited back, but I wasn't making much anyhow, and I decided not to sell what little heart that I've got left, and them gigs would surely kill me in time. I believe I'd rather be poor than sing them songs anymore, casting my pearls before them swine. Well, now I sure ain't saying this is a prayer worth praying. In fact, it's something I could never recommend, but you won't never have to fear singing songs that folks wanna hear, and when you're done, they'll all shout amen. But it won't have no meaning, and them rhymes will come so easy with no message in your songs. Well, I've heard so many say it, you gotta fake it till you make it, but you won't be making nothing at all. Thank you. This is a song I wrote one day when I was crossing over the Pascagoula Bridge headed from Mobile over into Mississippi, where I used to work at the Air Force, at the Keesler Air Force Base. I looked at my rearview mirror, I seen the sun rise, and I wrote this song about it. And I wish I remembered exactly how it all came to me, but I don't. And but it's the most, it's been streamed more times than any other song that I ever made, which isn't a whole lot, but it has made me tens of dollars. And So it's really great being this famous, having these people in New York making all the money off of what little bit folks like me create. But I mean, right now we still have this, you know. So this is cool. This is something that you can't Spotify yet. I'm sure they'll figure out a way to Spotify this too, but they hadn't yet. So keep on doing this shit. This is a song about finding love in less than perfect circumstance. It's called Colors. Well, like a silver road choir, the sun rose high through the blues. Set the pink sky on fire as I burn with desire and love with you. The back porch squeaked underneath our feet as we danced in this golden hue. And the oranges of autumn were shimmering from underneath the dew. 'Cause colors are all that matter when you're already outside the lines. And what we thought was just scribbles had become a pretty picture in this pale gray night. And our past was pretty shady, and we didn't have a history of doing right. It didn't happen like we planned it, and folks won't understand it. But our love, it ain't black and white. Well, I found you last night as the blood moon shined in dying reds. And the green in your eyes, it was accented by your lavender dress. You hit a long blank stare behind your purple mascara as I so pitifully confessed. I was a 3-time loser. I had a black cloud that followed. I was a formerly handsome mess. And like an evening primrose in midnight yellow bloom, you said to me, I ain't never met a man with no obvious plan and such honesty. And I've been broke too, and money reds and hard blues, and I've seen the darkest valley. You may have lost 3 times, but you won't here tonight. So let's paint ourselves lucky. 'Cause colors are all that matter when you're already outside the lines. And what we thought was just scribbles had become a pretty picture in this pale gray night. And our past was pretty shady, and we didn't have a history of doing right. It didn't happen like we planned it, and folks won't understand it, but our love, it ain't black and white. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. I was a preacher for 9 years, from 18 to 27. That's what I did. I was a Baptist preacher. I ended up pastoring in a town called Middlesboro, Kentucky. I quit when I was 25 and moved back to Mobile, joined the United States military because I didn't have no marketable skill. Then I went to the desert in 2013, and when I came home in 2014, my mama gave me this canteen, and this canteen my grandfather had carried across Europe in 1942, 43, and 44, and 45, and he had carved his initials. These are my paintings up here, and I carved into tar, roofing tar. That's how I make my paintings. Well, my grandfather, who I never got to meet, but he carved his initials, JJP, into the face of this canteen. And so I wrote this song. I wrote this song for my grandfather. His name was James Jewel Paget. And I learned, I didn't ever know him because he died 2 years before I was born. But my mama told me, I've learned a lot about him here over the past few months. He came back from World War II. He was injured in the Battle of the Bulge. And he ended up marrying my mama, and they had children. And my mama said she remembers when she was little, he'd be screaming in the middle of the night, hiding under the bed and stuff. And so, and the way he dealt with all that was with alcohol, and he became an alcoholic. And when he was 58 years old, he died of a heart attack. And I never did get to know him, but this is a song I wrote in an attempt to know my grandfather. His name was James Jewel Paget. He's from Elba, Alabama. So I wrote this song called JJP from Elba, ALA. I sang it all across Europe. And I took that canteen over there with me on tour. And they made a movie about it. They're making a movie about it right now. Anyway, this is a song in memory of my grandpa. I hope you like it. Into the heat of black-belt fields, Uncle Sound echoed across Alabama and reached my pawpaw's cotton-picking hands and enlisted them for foreign lands. And they took his plow, they gave him a gun, and they taught him to march into the rising sun. So the sweat of his brow fell before he'd begun. Give the hell them devils had to come, and they issued him a steel canteen, and he inscribed thereon the letters of his name, JJP from Elba, LA. And soon every country that he would take, 'cause that farm boy sailed the ocean blue. He buried buddies in France and Belgium too, fighting them Nazis nail and tooth, till the Battle of the Bulge was through. He was fighting them Nazis nail and tooth, till he came home with a soul split in two. He married my mama after 8 simple days, hard to work, but given to drink, and they had some babies and bought him a place as he tried to forget all he couldn't erase. 'cause sleep was often more than he could bear. And the Nazis would kill him in his nightmares, and he'd hide under furniture as ghostly shells took him back under Patton and pulled back the layers. But he kept that canteen hooked to the back door, though my mama never heard him talk about the war. Now one time he tried and she ignored, too young to know what a hero was for. Then by 58 he was damn near through, and he went into town to get his scripts renewed. And he walked up to a man he never even knew, said, "Please hold me," looking real confused. Well, he walked up to a man he never even knew. He wanted to live, but his heart refused. I've grown old with nothing but his tail, but after going to a war myself, Mama gave me this canteen. I keep it on my shelf, but I wish just once I could have heard him tell, 'cause he carried guilt for making it back alive. And I wonder how many tears he discreetly cried, 'cause back in 1945 a man would hide behind his pride, and he was hard because he had to be. So no one ever understood what all he'd seen, but he carved it on the face of that canteen as the weight of war killed silently. And now there's many a man who've gone this way, and I can't help but feel the need to say that, you know, it's a crying shame. No one wins when war is the game we play. Well, you know that it's a crying shame. JJP from El Bay. JJP from El Bay. Well, thank y'all. Let's see here. Let's see. Shall we go to something that's ridiculous? Here's a song. This is a ridiculous number that I wrote. I have to mix it up so I can play places like this. This is a song I wrote called "Get Thee Behind Me, Hippie." This is a joke. This is a work of satire. I hate that I have to say that, but I do. If you don't know what satire is, Google it. Well, I've seen this graven image since I was a kid, of a long-haired and soft-skinned and limp-wristed Jesus in a flowing gown so fine, and looking like Woodstock in '69. I'm pretty sure this has to be some kind of sin. Everybody wants Jesus looking just like them. And I never seen the Lord, but I sure can't believe he'd look anything like these old dirty hippies. 'Cause they walking around like cattle before he fell. And I ain't saying they're the devil, but God, they stink like hell. Oh, get thee behind me, hippie. You know, I went and seen this overrated hippie band. I never heard a song, just one long extended jam. These trash can hallucinating people in a trance. I seen a braless elderly woman doing an Indian dance, and them cross-legged boys reciting chants of the Sufis. And I have to admit, them psychedelic lights were groovy, till the hippie that was running them started tripping on shrooms. He set his hair on fire, run out of the room, then the fifth guitar player, started on his 13th solo. And I threw up a peace sign and said, "That's it, boys, I gotta go. Oh, get thee behind me, hit me." Now, I say this is a work of satire because if I was serious about this shit, like I would isolate about 75% of my fan base, which is not really what I'm into doing. So again, satire. You know they had their revolution in the summer of love. They promised us peace, said they would change the world. Then Dr. King showed them the mountain above. But it's really hard to climb it when you're hooked on drugs. And they started fizzing out with Adams and hate. You know them hippies that murdered poor old Sharon Tate. And when they finally climbed to power, they sent us to war. Now everything is just as messed up as it was before. Oh, never trust a hippie. Johnny Rotten said it best. They got flyers in their hair, but no courage in their chest. Oh, get thee behind me, hit me. I was down in this was the last single that came out on my record that came out in May, and I wrote it about this girl that I dated for like 3 months, like 20 years ago, and I've tried to find her on Facebook and I can't. And anyway, through a very strange set of circumstances, this song ended up getting played on country music television, well, with a video that I made for it. That I made with a $0 budget, taking pictures of bread ties being fashioned as people and acting out this song. And it got started playing on the country music television, and then they got the thing where you can vote on it and all that shit. And then the first week that it was on there, we were number 2, right behind old Keith Urban. And I was like, holy hell, man, how did that happen? But because I'm damn sure that Keith Urban spent more than $0 on his music video, you know? And so there we were beside Keith Urban, and then the second and third week I dropped to 3rd place behind Keith Urban and some dude that looked like he was like a GQ model or something. And then on the 4th week we dropped down behind Keith Urban and the GQ guy, and then this girl that looked like she could have been a centerfold. And then by the 5th week. My full record came out, upon which there's a song called "Pop Country is for Posers," and I got taken off of country music television. But I don't give a shit about that because I didn't belong on there anyway. It was just a big freaking accident. But they can have that shit. We'll take the Huntington Music and Arts Festival. We'll leave all that shit to them. But we bleeped up on there for a bit. It was weird. But anyway, that's a song I wrote about a girl I knew for just a day for one song. And I didn't know what to call it, and whether I should call it Young Love or Alabama Skies, and so I called it Young Love, open parentheses, Alabama Skies, close parentheses, which had, in hindsight being 2020, I know it was going to be playing on CMT. I probably would just stuck with one name. Here we go. We were young and in love in Alabama, but it wasn't Birmingham, it wasn't Mobile, and so we were nowhere, dreamers with a blank stare, running lost highways through the cotton fields. You'd slide over on my bench seat, you'd make a joke and poke fun at me just because I kept a Bible on the dash of my truck. It ain't that I read it much, it was really just there for love. and young love on lost highways. We needed the love. 'Cause isn't it something how young love can turn to nothing if you add a little distance and time passes by? And so I said, let's get affectionate, like it says in the New Testament. And we were laughing at tomorrow and grinning through the night. I bet you that was the only time in the history of CMT that New Testament affectionate were rhymed as well. Ain't nobody gonna do no shit like that. Do you remember when we'd wander, go floating down the Escatawpa? We wasn't really doing nothing but passing time, running from the knowledge you were soon to leave for college, splashing on the creek banks and trying not to cry. 'Cause isn't it something how young love can turn to nothing if you add a little distance and time passes by? It's a shame we had to grow up and couldn't stay in the moment when our days were long and our passions were high. Well, I helped your daddy move ya into the dorms in Tuscaloosa. You better not forget me, you whispered in my ear. I couldn't smile, so I faked it. We both knew I'd never make it, even if I found the money to see you up here. 'Cause isn't it something how young love can turn to nothing if you add a little distance and time passes by? But I always will remember the summer that we spent together, them innocent nights beneath the Alabama skies. Thank y'all. Okay. Well, this is a song I wrote called Simplicity. It's about the tendency I have to make everything more complicated than it needs to be. Well, love ain't a feeling. Love is an act. It's less an emotion and more of a pact. It's when you decide to give yourself freely. Yes, it's simple, really. And life ain't just living. No, life has a course. It's less what you do, and it's more who you are. When you follow your heart completely, yes, it's simple, really. How many live in the misery complexity. And happiness ain't in having. No, happiness is free. It's less what you got and more what you give away. It's singing your song amidst the sonic graffiti. Yes, it's simple, really. And what if the Lord's greatest mystery was simplicity? And heaven ain't a dreamland. No, heaven's in your heart. It's less a destination and more of a spark. You'll find in your midnight burning so deeply. Yes, it's simple, really. Yes, it's simple, really. Thank y'all so much for coming out.